try to keep it. Okay, so I started my research topic about collaborative scoring because I had a concern way back in the fall that teachers are scoring in isolation and that results may vary from person to person within divisions, schools, boards, and even province-wide. And I was also wondering about the role of bias when you score on your own with your own students. And I feel that without the dialogue and sense of agreement and clearly expressed parameters, that scoring results for the same piece of work may vary widely among teachers, even when they use the same rubric. So I had a chance to hear Douglas Reeves speak last summer, and he talked about assessment practices, assessment and grading practices, and how when we can come to agreement and when we have more, I don't want to say standardization, but we have more agreement in how we grade and what grades we come to agreement on, it makes us look more professional, and that really struck home with me. So my question was, how did using collaborative scoring affect my assessment in grade 2 writing? So I chose the Ontario Writing Assessment task, and I used self-reflective journaling and the professional dialogue that I had during collaborative scoring and with other staff in my school and my critical friends group really informed my self-reflection and my process. There was discussion in my critical friends group about surveying the staff. I wondered if I was going to wait until the end of this project to survey them on whether they do collaborative scoring, how often, if they don't, why not, what are the barriers, because I think that's going to be my next venture is to work with people in my own school embedding collaborative scoring into our practice. So I also think that one of the barriers to my research was during the collaborative scoring, it was very difficult to note what we were saying while we were saying it and doing it. So I think if I do further research on this, I want to be the observer and I want to record and analyze the discussion, because that was a really key part. And there's actually in my lit review there was some work done on analyzing people when they're having those discussions, and I think it would be an important part of training people in collaborative scoring too. So my findings in a nutshell were that it makes me want to do more of it, and that I would also like to try it for other subjects. And a surprising thing was that my first collaborative scoring experience was actually with a math task. It was at the beginning of a math pathway, and I sat with the instructional coach and we scored the diagnostic assessment on their problem solving. So I didn't expect that in the journey. I thought that I was going to start with writing and maybe go to other things, but it was actually my first experience. So I got my feet wet with it. I found it to be a useful process because of that discussion with my colleagues. It also validated my assessment findings and refined my skills, and I'll go into more detail in my report about that self-reflection and how it includes my practice. It helped me look at the work and not about the individual student, and I was also surprised by that because I thought that just being aware that I have to try not to be biased when I'm by myself, I found it was still tempting, and just simply having that other person beside me looking at the page and us looking at the work, at the exemplar, at the rubric, and I found that was a common theme was we would look at the work, compare it to the exemplar, look at the rubric when we needed to, and really it kept us really focused on the student work. I think that it has direct implications for PLCs, and that my recommendation would be that there be scheduled time away from class to score with a colleague, and it doesn't have to be all tasks or all subjects, but I think that it really is useful and makes us look more professional, and it really refines our overall practice. So when in November, I administered the first task. I scored all of the 4 areas on my own, and it took 60 minutes to do my grade 2 students. Then I administered the second task in the spring, and I had the instructional coach score with me, but it was during class time. So that could have been a barrier because it's, you're still watching your class and doing that at the same time. So that took 63 minutes just to score the knowledge and understanding component. And I don't know if that's because it's tougher to wrap your head around that than other areas of assessment. But the last thing I did was collaboratively score with my other grade 2 teacher, and we did thinking on a common prep time, and it took 20 minutes. So it seems to get easier and faster as we go. There's a definite need for training in this, and I think the importance of exemplars and rubrics is really highlighted too. There you go.